I would like to get to know if you could be the kind of girl that you could be down for. 'Cause when I look at you, I feel something tell.
Happy June 1st. Even though Sundays is the first day of the week, this actually feels like first Monday. It just screams, I don't know if it's me, officially the middle of the year, it screams, okay, let's get it together. Let's get in formation. So I know, I have been gone. I dropped my video on my weight loss and things I've learned from that, and I kind of went ghost. And it's like, hey, you're never going to be the content creator you want to be if you just keep ducking off. But it was a very busy time for me. But good news is that I actually do have a lot more free time because there have been some developments. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that I was like, I'm working on some things, but I don't want to speak on them until, things are finalized. Well, things have been finalized, so I am back and I'm going to get into it. First things, you're probably like, where are you? I'm still in my house. I'm doing this thing where I'm just like testing different parts of my house, like which ones give me the best lighting, which has like the best background, all of that stuff. So I have so much to share with you, and I don't want to make this video seem like it's all over the place. So I'm actually just going to condense it to a few main things as far as like what I've been up to, where I'm going, recent updates, and then I will break off each topic with like smaller, more detailed videos. Random, but this is a conversation. As I'm sitting here recording my video, of course, we all look at ourselves and we're like, oh, if I could change this, if I could change that. I am definitely getting under eye bag surgery. And I think I'm going to aim for next summer. And you're probably like, why next summer? I actually will get into that a little later in this video. But I've noticed since I've lost weight, I kind of thought maybe my under eye bags would go down. But I've had under eye bags since I was a teenager. And now that I've lost weight, I feel like they're just more prominent. So yeah, next summer. And I've actually been noticing that like the last 5 or 6 months. It's like no matter what I do, no matter how much sleep I get, the bags are just there. So this is actually not really a result of weight loss or drastic weight loss, even though mine was really that drastic. It was like a year and a half. I've just kind of realized like these are not going to go away on their own. There's been a few doctors that I've like, oh, I want to try you out, but everyone has consultations that are like $200 to $400, and I'm like, okay, I can't be going to like different people spending all this money that's non-refundable. So I'm definitely going to get serious this year with locating a doctor, maybe one or two, and getting a consult done and getting this done. It's time. So that was a little detour, but yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, I am 39. Yes, I just had my 39th birthday last month, May 5th. I am a Taurus season, even though we're in Gemini season. Last year in my 30s, and I feel like this is the year of me fully completing things that I have been on a journey to, getting closure in areas that I have not. Obviously, it's not as if we get to a certain point in life and all of our problems go away and everything's perfect and we have the answers for things. We just enter different chapters that, require different insights, different perspective, and new lessons. So I am just in a place where I'm like, even things that maybe I didn't quite, pick up on and really start implementing in my 20s, I am like, I want to learn the lesson. I want to fully get it over the next year. New hairdo. Yeah, all me, all mine. I mentioned in previous videos that I wanted to start wearing my real hair. Ever since middle school, I've always had braids. I didn't really start wearing weaves until senior year. My grandmother let me get a weave, and I was like, oh, I like this. It wasn't a really long one. It was 12 inches, so it was maybe like right here, nothing, extreme. And then of course when I went to college, braids here and there, but mostly weaves. But I have never really learned how to take care of my real hair. And as I've gotten older, especially the last like 5 years, I'm like, I'm tired of this. Like, I just want to be at a point where I can just go get a silk press and I can go. But I wasn't there. Now I feel like I'm getting there. Of course, when I was on Zepbound, I didn't have extreme hair loss, but there was like some breakage definitely around the crown area, right here, even a little bit right here, a little thinning. My edges got it the worst. About 6 months into, well, not into my Zepbound journey, but about 6 months after I started experiencing that hair loss, I think that's when I started to plateau. And then the hair loss, it stopped. The thinning, it stopped. I also upgraded like my hair products. So I'm going to make a separate video with like all the products that I use, but mid last year, 2025, I got into Sacred. Beyonce gets my money in multiple ways, and Sacred is just another. And I didn't see a lot of the results because, again, at that time, my hair was still in protective styles constantly. But when I went to my hair appointment, and I had the same stylist throughout that time, and every 3 to 4 months, she was doing a trim. I believe at one point she was like, well, there's a lot to cut, but I'm not going to cut off a lot at once. I'm just going to separate this into like 2 to 3 trims over the next year. And that's what she had did. And then March of this year, which is 3 months, so I'm entering into the 3rd year of my journey. That's when I went to her. I said, okay, let's just go ahead and get this done. Now, I do have a relaxer. I'm not even gonna lie, because even she was like, you might wanna maybe start with a relaxer. I hadn't had a relaxer in 11 years. So I was like, no, why do I need that? Like, I can just figure out. She was like, you're you're gonna struggle. And so I did. And I know some people was like, they don't even like relaxers, which that is your preference. I'm not here to make a video to convince you guys to do anything that you don't want to do. I'm just being honest about where I am with my hair journey. And honestly, I like it. So I know they say, try to get a relaxer every 6 to 8 weeks. I just had my touch up a week and a half, no, almost 2 weeks ago. I'm going to keep it at like 10 weeks. I'm really trying to stretch it to where it's like I only have to get like 4 a year. But my stylist, she was like, no, you need to come in a little sooner. But when I did my touch up recently, she noticed growth. She noticed like thickness. She washed my hair. She was like, oh yeah, you didn't have any type of hair loss. She was like, you had a lot of new growth. So it's good news. And even from here, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely see the length. I'll post some before pictures and even pictures throughout my journey. That'll be right here. And I'm seeing the results. I'm definitely seeing how me washing my hair every 10 days as opposed to every 5 to 6 weeks. I'm seeing the difference in, how my hair receives it. I also realized, because they say, well, if your hair gets damaged, that means you weren't taking care of your hair when they were in braids or weaves or anything. And then I had to really sit and think. Over the last like 2 years, I was applying like, the hair oils, the leave-in conditioners, the moisturizers 2 to 3 times a week. My hair just through, the add in here, my hair was not really receiving the products. So my hair was not getting the moisture and the hydration that it should have been getting. Bottom line, no matter how much, no matter what I was doing, my hair needed to be out. It needed to breathe, as we like to say here in the Black community. So, and I'm definitely seeing now that like my hair is breathing, I'm seeing the results. So, July and August, I do plan on doing some type of protective style. I don't know what kind, but it's not going to be a sew-in. It's not going to be, um, tiny braids. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I'm like, I might just try to do like the 6 like straight backs. I've been seeing them on a lot of women and they look so cute. And that really might be my style. Like, get it cornrowed up every 3 weeks, take it down, get it done again. But in between stylings, let it let my hair breathe for about a week or so. But right now I'm really focused on health and growth, and it's definitely doing that. So I'm really excited to see where I'm at the end of the year. Okay, so second order of business. One of my most recent videos, I had said that I wanted to do a career pivot, but I wasn't sure in which direction I wanted to go. And I knew I wanted to go back to school, but also I didn't know what I was going back to school for. I figured it out. And I am going back to school and starting in the fall to get my MSW, my Master's in Social Work. Yay! Yay! I've already been accepted to a university. I start in the fall. I've registered for classes. And the reason why I was so busy earlier in the year is because I was actually taking classes because undergraduate, my grades were not great. My priorities were everywhere they were not supposed to be. Like, school was like not where it was. And as a result, my grades suffered. So, oh, I'm sorry. I thought my step was like right there. And it's like, no, what are you doing? Anyways, and so me trying to go back to graduate school, I was just kind of like, these grades are horrible. Who is going to accept me? So I had signed up. I was taking classes through Open University at my university that I graduated from. Classes, I did not qualify for financial aid because I was not under a program. I took 300 and 400 level classes. I took a total of 5 classes. I got A's in every single one of them. Now, this past semester, I took one during a winter intersession, which was 3 weeks. So if you've done like college work, like the intersession periods, bang, bang, bang. There was like discussions 2 times a week, assignment and this and that. So it was like on it. Then I did the spring semester. I did 2 classes. One of those classes, I actually had to commute to class once a week at 8 a.m. I'm in the Valley. I went to Cal State LA, way over East LA, Alhambra area. I had to get up at 6 a.m., be out of the house by 6:20. If I got on the freeway at 6:40, I was going to be at least 15 minutes late. That was the way traffic was. I only missed 2 classes throughout the whole semester because each class you did get participation points. So if you miss like 3 to 4 classes, you'd see a result in like almost a whole letter grade, like 10%. So it was like, no, you get 1 or 2 chances, but and I really wanted to do my absolute best because my GPA was not the best. So every point counted. I wasn't taking these classes just to be like, oh, okay, a B here, B. I mean, if I got a B, okay, but I was working my off for the A. Like, I'm not coming here for nothing. And I had to pay $900 out of pocket per class. I'm not doing this for nothing. So yeah, we're working, we're doing what we have to do. School was absolutely a priority. So with me taking 2 classes, and one I had to commute for, it was kind of like February through end of May, or not end of May, early May. It was just like, okay, I was locked in. But I ended up with A's in all of those classes. When you ask me what made me think about social work, I actually researched social work back in like 2020, maybe 2019 when I lived in Vegas. And in my research, I realized I was not researching correctly, or I was researching correctly, but I was not understanding what I was researching. I was under the impression that after I would complete a master's, I would have to work for 3,000 hours unpaid in order to be considered a social worker. So I was like, how am I going to work 2 years unpaid? At the end of last year, October, work had me work had me done for. I was like, I can't do this no more. I took a leave for my mental health because it was shot. And I realized I was like, okay, this is your second leave. You cannot just keep going on leave. If you get another job as a healthcare case manager, you're going to be doing the same thing in 6 months. So you need to figure out what is it that you really want to do. Obviously, if I had it my way, I'd be a trust fund baby, but that's not in the cards for me. So what is it that you want to do? What is it that you can see yourself not dreading every single time that you go to work? I had to really think on that. That was about a month. And it was like, okay, I do like mental health. So what does that look like? Psychiatrist, like what is that? Counselor, um, drug rehabilitation specialist, like what is that? And then I was like, oh, okay, I could do a mental health nurse practitioner. And I was like, nursing is not really for me. You know how they say for some people, like, people are just going to nursing school for the money. For me, that would have been that. I'm like, that's just not my path, but okay, let's dig deeper. I come back on social work. I'm like, I don't think this is for me because of what I found out before. Come to find out, I initially read all of the requirements wrong. It's like, no. Once you graduate with your MSW, you are a social worker, but you want to be a licensed clinical social worker here in California, you will accumulate 3,000 post-grad hours, which during a 2-year period minimum. And once you accumulate that, you take a test. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. I talked to a few friends from college who I recently reconnected with. They're social workers, and I was like, hey, what's your experience? They gave me real advice. But what they told me, I loved. I was like, okay, this is me. And then I was just researching. I initially thought social work was mainly CPS. I'm like, I don't have the heart for CPS. Like, no. I was like, no, you can go forensic with courts, jails. You can go hospital, mental health. Like, there's so many avenues. You can go school, some of your school counselors, some people, working in like the dean of students or wellness departments. Like, you can go so many fields. I did not know that. I like that. I like that a lot. Decided around November, that is what I want to do. So, of course, going back to school, trying to, figure some things out. When I went back to school, one of my classes I took was a social work class this past spring. I got in really good with my professor, built good communication. He's a LCSW. He wrote me a recommendation letter. The school that I got into, it actually was my first choice. It's very reasonably priced and it is online. When I get closer to graduation, I'll actually reveal what that school is. But for right now, so yeah, I'm starting in the fall. I have 4 classes and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I am like, things are falling into place. And some people might be thinking like, well, what about event planning? What are you going to do with that? I love event planning, but I had also realized when I started thinking about what do I want to do as far as my 9 to 5 life, full-time entrepreneurship is not for me. It is not for everybody, and I realize I am one of the everybody. I like doing events, but I don't like the pressure financially that it puts on me. I don't like the idea of like, oh my God, if this event doesn't do this well, or I don't make this much in ticket sales, or I don't get sponsors or whatever, I can't make my rent or I can't, financially survive. I don't like that. I don't like that type of pressure. Maybe it's laziness. I don't know. I could be a little lazy. Maybe it's you don't have the drive. I don't care. Like, again, I'm in my 30s. I want a more relaxing life. I am in my work smarter, not harder phase. And to me, trying to be a full-time entrepreneur, I just don't have it in me. And that is okay. So once I reached that point of realization about myself, hey, it's not for you, and not feeling bad or ashamed about it, that's okay. Now, I'm still going to do events, but I'm just going to do them more on my time. If someone reaches out to me and they're like, hey, I want you to plan this holiday party for me, or I want you to plan, my graduation party or birthday, I'm your girl. Let's talk. Let's, figure this out. If there's an event that's on my heart to be like, hey, I want to do this, I'm going to do it. But last year, I did 2 events on my own. They were a good success in terms of people finding out about Hugh House, people liking the events, me getting a warm reception, and me just actually throwing a successful event. However, financially, doing those 2 events drained like 80% of my savings. And I had thousands comfortably saved up in my savings. And yeah, and that was no. Being a business owner, you have to be okay with the sacrifice. You have to be okay with losing money and spending it, and being okay with, hey, I might not get it back in the form that I gave it away. That's not where I'm at. So entrepreneurship for me will be on a part-time basis. Maybe once I, get my degree, I will definitely be more open to doing like mental health based events, and, I'll still be doing events, but it will not be on a full-time basis. So yeah, that is just where I'm at with my career. And I feel very, very excited for me that I feel like I finally have figured it out for the most part. Because even, with figuring it out, like I'm kind of like right now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do medical social work in hospital, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And you know what they say? If you want to make God laugh, here's plans. So the plan for today might not be the plan 2 years from now, but I feel good that I feel like I finally have something that is in alignment with what I want, what I need. It checks off multiple boxes, and it makes me happy. So I'm really, really excited about that. Okay, so not too much of an update, but an update when it comes to my fitness. So I am still maintaining. I don't know if I said this in the last video, but my weight yo-yos between 143 and 147. I feel like anything past 145 is usually water weight. Like, I don't think that like I'm off and on gaining 4 pounds every 2 weeks. I know like right after my cycle, my weight goes up about 2 to 3 pounds, and then it comes right back down. So I just kind of place myself at 145. I think I mentioned it. I did start doing solid core, but I had to stop because I had just been drastically overspending, which videos coming about that with me reeling in my spending and getting my budget right. But I had to let solid core go because you got to have your coins in order to consistently do that. But in July, I will be restarting. As far as Zepbound, I just finished a box last week, so I'll be picking up another box next week. I'm still doing 1 5 milligram shot every 3 weeks. That box that I pick up will be the last 5 milligram box that I pick up. And then once that box is gone, because there's 4 injections per box, so I'll be taking the first injection in that box mid-June. So probably late August, I'll be done with that box. Then after that, I'm doing 1 box of 2.5. That's it, just 1. That will probably carry me until end of October, early November, because I'm doing 1 shot every 3 weeks. That's 12 weeks. I have noticed, full disclosure, the last week of that 3-week block, my eating habits pick up. My cravings pick up. The appetite suppression as a whole is a lot lower, especially because I'm on a 5 milligram. I've decreased my dose and I'm only taking it every 3 weeks. So my suppression was probably at about a 9, obviously the first year and a half. Now my suppression is like a 4. Like I wake up and a few hours within waking up, it's like, okay, I could eat something. 3 hours later, okay, lunch. But I've noticed for me, snacking is like, which that was an issue for me prior to even starting Zepbound. A big part of my nutrition weaknesses was snacking. So I've had to be very vigilant with what I keep in the house, at least for me. I've had to be very cognizant of like, hey, look at what you're doing. And also just realizing, like, well, not realizing, but with me just, having to remind myself, hey, you don't plan on staying on this medication forever. You have a goal of getting off by the end of the year. You want to get off and you don't want to have to go back on. I want to get off and I don't want to gain 30 to 40 pounds within 9 months. So I'm definitely in that stage where in certain areas when it comes to my nutrition, where I have to be mindful of what I'm eating. The discipline now is more on me than it is on the shot. So, how people, who talk down on GLP-1s, they're like, well, you're just cheating and blah, blah, blah. I am now in that phase where it's like, oh yeah, this is testing me. It's on me. So I have been more mindful of that. Baby steps. Some days I'm like, I fell short. Other days I'm like, okay, I did good. So I'm not really too hard on myself about it because I know what I have to do. I'm going to do it. The gym, not going to lie, in the month of May, it wasn't really laziness. It was that I had just had like so much going on. I'm not even going to lie. It was just a very busy month. I have a lot of friends who have birthdays, and May is just always a busy month with like stuff to do. So I was not really in the gym like that. Would I make that a habit? Obviously, no. So I know for myself, I cannot go 5 or 6 days without going to the gym, or it's going to make it harder for me to get back in there. So now, last week, I went my 4 times. It was good. But for me, I am realizing that between working out and the food is something that I'm going to have the more discipline with. That's the one I'm going to have to work harder. The gym, I can fall off for a few days or, kind of be inconsistent, but it's very easy for me to get back into it because I actually do enjoy, the physical aspect of working out. The nutrition, that's what's going to take the remaining few inches off my waist. That's what's going to really tone me up. That is where I'm going to have to do the work, but it's okay. Like, I'm ready for it, but Zepbound has done the majority of the work. It's gotten me this far for me to like really, really get where I want to go, which at this point, I don't really want to lose any more weight. Like if the scale says 145 forever, I will not care. It's really inches. I want to lose about 4 to 5 inches off my waist. I still want to do a little more toning on my arms and inner thighs. Obviously, I'd like to round out my glutes a little more. So at this point, it's really just sculpting. So, of course, with like losing inches off your waist, maybe that might, equal to losing a few pounds. But again, at this point, the focus for me is inches and toning. So, yeah, but overall, fitness is still going great. It's a learning experience. It's just, where I'm at now just looks a little different than where I was a year and a half. And yeah, and it's also a little symbolic because July of 2024 is when I started Zepbound. So it's very, it means something to me that's like, okay, as of July 2026, me coming off Zepbound is in my near future. So I like that. I actually have an appointment this week Yes, this week with my doctor. It is my 6-month physical where I'm getting lab work done just to see, how's everything going. So I will give an update of that when I drop my follow-up video on my nutrition plan and what I'm doing, which that will be dropping early July. And we've made it to the end. There are some other updates that I want to give you guys, but again, I did not want this video to be all over the place. I kind of just wanted to speak on things that I have spoke about in past videos, give updates, especially again, when it came to the school and career change, I was kind of like, I don't want to speak on it until things are finalized. So now that it's like there's finalization, there's movement, there's updates, I was like, I want to share this. And now that I have a few months of a break in between starting school, I'm like, I have more time to put into videos. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. I've made my schedule. I'm going to be better at recording. I pinky promise. I pinky. Oh, wait, no, crossing your fingers means you're lying. I have some other videos coming about, my financial budgeting, me attempting to date, what I'm eating, my meal plans, and a few other things. Some really good topics that I am excited to talk about and also reflect where I am in my life. So stay tuned. Again, thank you so much for listening, following, especially if you've been here and you're like, I haven't seen a video from you in 2 months. So I'm back. Thank you so much. If you are new here, please follow me. Yeah. Follow me, share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.